Good evening and welcome to Think About It Using Common Sense. Um, Today, the title of this podcast is Justice for All, because this is not what is happening today, and it hasn't happened for a long time. But I think due to the point in time we are in with, with social media and cameras everywhere, things that has been hidden before uh, are coming to the light. And for the life of me, uh, I don't understand. And this has nothing to do with Democrats, Republicans, liberals, or whether you're going right, or whether you're going left. This has to do with truth and justice. And truth needs no explanation. And truth needs no high priced lawyers to defend it. Now, it's time for the American people to realize that the way things are in this country, they have been screwed up for a very, very, very long time. And I think we're at a point in time now where the people are beginning to open their eyes. They begin to understand. They begin to question things that was never questioned before. Whereas people just take things at face value and start putting people in certain categories and saying that this way and that way, but not actually saying why. Why are people this way? Why are people in the situation that they're in? And this is beginning to be questioned. And when you question this, then you have to question those who are in charge, those who have been in charge. And once you see that, then the seal began to open. Because what Fox News did, what the GOP did, what the American citizens did, charging the Capitol violently on January 6th, trying to stage a coup in this government. It was one of the most absurd things I have ever seen in my entire life. And what was even more disturbing was the number of people that went along with it. And I know a lot of these people knew that's what they're saying is coming to surface about Fox News. Those people knew. I knew that regardless, those people and and the GOP politicians that refuse to accept the legitimacy of the election of Joe Biden winning the election, being president of the United States. I knew they knew that wasn't crooked. But they sold their souls and they turned their back on America and they turned their back on the American people and they turned their back on the Constitution. They turned their back on justice. This is not something I'm sitting here making up. But what's disturbing is the American people are buying into this. They bought into it. And then there was a couple of Republicans that stood up and spoke the truth, and they got kicked out of government for standing up for the truth. People, what are you thinking? Don't you understand that what all this is happening is underneath of all this, everything that's happening in this country, the rich continue to get rich and the poor continue to get poor. Nothing, nothing has changed, especially not for the better. Middle class, there is no middle class. Now we have middle class 1, 2, and 3. Because the middle class of today or the middle class of yesterday is not the middle class today. People talking about what Donald Trump did. I'm not a politician, but I can tell you, listening at what Joe Biden did, the only thing that stood out that Trump did, as far as I'm concerned, was to get money and eliminate uh, taxes on the rich. And Trump is rich, so why not? Why not eliminate taxes for himself if he can do that? Why don't the Republicans and everybody else go along with Trump that's rich? Want to get rid of taxes. It's common sense. But see, the American people have to wake up because I'm gonna tell you, you're getting under the umbrella. I'm putting you under the umbrella of out of touch with reality. I'm not gonna call you ignorant because you're not necessarily ignorant just because you don't know anything about politics or you don't know anything about you don't have any common sense. Common sense comes as a universal connection, as a universal connection with truth that you can see. But if you've been brainwashed for so long that you have lost your sight, you've lost your way. And the way things are going today, something is cooking. Something is cooking, people. And it does not include the uh, poor, middle class, and the low income. We're not included in the future. We're not, because there's not going to be enough food. It's not going to be enough water. The prices of real estate is going to be so high, you won't be able to afford them. Jobs is being eliminated by the tens of hundreds of thousands. You know, I saw something today on uh, YouTube. They had this 3D machine building condominiums, high-rise apartment buildings. Yes, yes. No people, no people. I went to a store a couple of weeks ago. I think I mentioned security robot, no people. You go in the stores where there was cashiers, no people, self checkout. Cars, trucks for delivery, no people, self driving cars, self driving trucks, self driving trains, self flying airplanes. And for the reason, I don't understand it. Why are you putting people out of work simply because you're greedy and you just want more money that you'll never be able to spend? Why? You're not going anywhere. This planet is here until it's till we destroy it. So why not have jobs so people can work? Why not see to it that people have clean filtering systems for drinking water, for toilets, and proper food, nutrients for people to eat, people to live, for people to clean up their environment. What's the rush? I never could understand the rush. But it's like uh, people just don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. They're just so wrapped up in things. And then when the final day come and they get to a point where they have to go into hospice care or they get start getting old, all these physical things mean nothing to them anymore. Nothing. So why are you gonna live a life that at the end what you have accumulated means absolutely nothing? You wind up giving it away or doing this when you can help someone, help make this world a better place to live for all of us. Education is a must. We have somebody running for mayor. First they, oh, we're gonna get rid of the crime. We're gonna get rid of it every time. For the last 10 elections, mayor's been getting rid of crime and cutting taxes and cleaning up the city. So that's a given. You know, the way things are going now, people have to realize they have to be taught. They have to be taught. These things just don't come to you automatic. I was true stuff. I think I was about 20, uh, maybe 20, 21 years old before I realized that you could make money without working for somebody. No, I used to think the only way you could make money was work for somebody. That's what I was taught. The seeds was never planted into my mind that I could become a lawyer, I could become a doctor, I could become a scientist, or I could be anything, airplane pilot, whatever. Those seeds were never planted into my mind. So that's just like putting a seed in the ground and putting a glass over it. So that means that that plant cannot get any higher than that glass that's over it. Education is very important, people. And when I found out what I could do, and my mind, and I started expanding my mind and my thoughts and questioning things, there was nothing I couldn't do. And the first and the most important thing you need to do is learn how to master your mind. Once you and believe in yourself, because nothing is impossible to achieve. Nothing. But it is if you don't have knowledge of it. You can have a high performance car parked in front of your door, but if you don't know how to drive it, it's nothing. And this is what this body is. This is what this mind is. It's high performance, people. It's time to come to realize what we have, and it's time to use it, develop it. Because when you look at things that's happening today, you know, people with money buying everything. It's called gentrification. They're buying everything. And they're pushing people in the inner cities, neighborhoods, they're pushing them out. And once you get out, you can't get back in. But behind the fact that you're unorganized, you've been fighting amongst yourselves, each other, you've been spending your money foolishly instead of working together, putting your money together. And I'm not just talking about blacks, I'm talking about the low income, middle class one and two. We have to work together to do these things, and it can be done. It can be done, people, but you have to do it. You have to start thinking right. And you look at all these people, look at all the entertainers, these so-called stars that people in business. How do they get that money? They get that money from us. And they get your money because you have not been educated properly. And you've been taught not to work together. I had a I had to I had a drain problem. My drain was clogged from the outside. So, excuse me, I called a plumber. Certified plumber came out. And when he looked at it, the toilet basically unclogged itself. Okay. So I mean it was flushing. And so right away he's gonna tell me, he said, well, to snake it from the outside, just to snake it, it's gonna be $250. He said, but there's no guarantee. He said, but if we flush it with the water, give it a water flush, clean out everything, $500. But the point that I'm making is, so uh and I would never have to worry about it again. So I got the water flush. It took him 20 minutes to take something like a little thing with some water and run through the pipe through 20 minutes. $500. You hear what I'm saying? What I called a one plumber before that. He gave me a price. Then I called another plumber. He told me, I said, well, I got a better price. He said, well, go with him then. But then I'm saying, you just can't have anybody coming if you're not licensed and bonded to come in, start doing things with your pipe. If they mess up, then what are you going to do? The point that I'm making is, if you don't learn how to do anything, you're at the mercy of these people. You're at the mercy of these business people. I don't care how much you $500 for 20 minutes just to run an air hose outside with some water. How can you live like that? We don't make that kind of money like that. You understand? This is the problem. When people be talking about inflation, inflation is one thing, but people taking advantage of people is another. And this is what I see under the umbrella of inflation. People are making money. Oil companies, food. Somebody say I saw something. Somebody said something about some Legos or something. Multi-billion dollars they made. All these, people have money, you waste them. I'm not saying don't do what you have to do, but this is survival, man. And we have to work together as a people. Just because you have the advantage or you can do something that somebody else can't do, that's no reason to overcharge these people. It's not. But it's just too bad that we don't care. That's gone. Everybody lives now for that dollar. They do. But they don't realize that at the end of the day, it ain't how you run the race, it's how you come across the finish line. I was I wrote an article some time ago. I studied metaphysics. And I wrote an article some time ago about death, and saying that death is not the end, but it's the beginning. That's when your consciousness takes hold. And yesterday, I like to watch sci-fi movies, new movies about the future. This particular movie, first thing came out and said that the consciousness survived after this physical body ceased to exist. It's after death, your consciousness don't die. I almost jumped out the chair because that's the first time I heard that, but I've been saying that for years. I mean, I know that, I believe that, because you have to go with things that make sense. And that's the only way to make sense that justice prevail is through your consciousness when this physical body ceases to exist, and you can only be what you are. You can only be what you have accumulated over the years. That's just like physically now. Your DNA. You're not just your mother and father in your DNA. You her father's father, his father, father, mother. You understand the whole generation, you're the end product of that whole generation, and that whole generation is inside of you physically. So when this physical body ceases to exist, when this physical body is simply a vehicle, a physical vehicle to get you through this physical uh plane that we're on, physical environment that we created, and it created us. Because what we are is everything that we need to get us through this point in time. You see, and this is the captain. The body is the ship, and our consciousness, our brain, enable us to calculate and figure this out and figure it out to get us through. Not to get money, not to get things, get you through so you can have life. You understand? This is what this is all about, people. This ain't about none of this mess. None of it. And if you don't wake up, you're gonna get taken down. Because once this physical, see, the thing about it is this: you got to understand whether you understand this or not. But as long as you are alive, as long as you are alive, you have a chance. You understand? You have a chance. And what we are here now is we're at a crossroad. That's what humans are. We can make a choice. We can control whether we go left, whether we go right, before we even get there. You see, animals react on that situation once they're at that point, and that's when they decide. But we can calculate, we can figure out. That's what separates us from animals: the ability to think and figure things out. We're not doing that, and you're losing. Because once this physical body cease to exist, that consciousness starts to first it's trying to first before it start doing anything, it has to go through this point where it can say, well, why can't I why can't I make contact? See, that's what the consciousness is going. It's trying to figure out, why can't I make contact? I know this is there. I can see this. I know this there, but nobody sees me. I'm making noise, but nobody hears me. You see, that's that consciousness trying to figure out that death. Why? What happened to the body? See, I'm telling you what I know. You see, you don't. No one dies from doing what you're supposed to do, or living right, thinking right. Death is the result of doing bad things. There's certain words like regeneration. You know, You wouldn't have that word if there wasn't such a thing. Reincarnation. And just because you don't understand something, doesn't mean that that thing doesn't exist. It just means you don't understand it. Yeah. And no matter how long you think you're gonna live, sure these people got all this money, they got these scientists and they cloning and they doing this and test tubes and they're making bodies like spare parts when they need this and they need that. The end is the end, whether it's 100 years or 500 years, doesn't matter. You got to pay up. So the thing to do is start developing now. And you start developing yourself now and face death head on. There's no such thing as death when you transform from one plane to another. You be so physical and spiritually developed that you don't even see no death. You just transforming. You moving on. But this has not been taught. It's coming out now. I listen to people and I hear them. They talking about it, but they talking about something. But you can tell somebody something is over there, but you don't really know anything about it. Break it down to people, show them how to get there. Because when you tell someone something and that person listens to you and you don't know what you're talking about, that means you are held accountable to that person, the persons. Nothing goes unnoticed. Nothing. Because you do it. You know what a detective once said? He said, when somebody, excuse me, so when someone, there's always evidence at a crime scene. That's why I was there. He said, because you was there. If you was there, you leave something. Makes sense? So it's the same thing here. Everything that you do, everything that you think is recorded. Just like this computer is recorded, your consciousness is the same way. Because this whole computer system is nothing but a carbon copy of your nervous system. That's all it is. Where else did it come from? Where else could it come from? Everything that all the computers they're trying to do, they're just imitate, trying to imitate the human, and they're giving these robots and machines all this energy. But guess what? The humans are more powerful than that. It's just the fact that we just don't know how to tap into that energy. So how could a machine be more powerful than that where it come from? We made it consist of trillions of atoms. And there's enough energy in one single atom can demolish a large building. So who can tell you how much energy and what you're capable of doing? No one. As long as you're out here living outside of yourself, you will never know anything but the grave. That's not our purpose. To run around doing what we're doing, we're destroying ourselves, destroying our planet. You know, just because someone knows something, they think they're better than someone else. You just know that. You can teach some animals to do something. And what are animals? They're nothing simply but living personalities. That's all. That's all they are. But getting back to Fox News and these politicians, government officials. You know, it's terrible, people. It is terrible. And how these people are still on the air is beyond me. If that was some small business that did that, shut them down. They would have been shut down. And where is equal justice when you can go to court, two people go to court for the same thing? One person have a what do you call that? Attorney that's given you by the court, and another the other person can have a uh, really high society, high price lawyer. One person will get 20 years in jail, the other person gets 6 months probation. How is that justice? How is that justice? It's not. Justice is supposed to have the same representation. Your time in jail should not depend on the lawyer that you have. That's messed up. So is that what lawyers are? Is somebody that we go to college so they can know the law? You know, if a person commit a crime, now I can understand some things happen instantaneous that it's not planned or anything like that. Well, you got these politicians that know and sit up here and commit crimes and lie about it, and they ain't gonna get a lawyer and try and get them off. They need to get triple. They need to get triple sentence because they know better. But guess what? They don't spend a day in jail. And this is not right. This is not right. But guess what? There's nothing you can do about it because the rich controls everything. They own everything, no matter what, and they're gonna always own it. You should be able to see that. But you can operate within this system. I'm gonna give you an example. When we talk about social media, who is social media? Who is it? Is it TikTok have over 1 billion people on, or Facebook, or all these social medias? I mean, who are they? You know who social media is? Social media is the people. Me, you, the people. So why can't you start your own social media? Why can't we, the people, start our own social media without them? If they can't work with us, you act like you have to have these things. You know, uh, uh, inflation could be the best thing in the world for a lot of you. Every time you turn around, you're eating. You're 400 or 500 pounds. You're overweight. You have diabetes. So it won't hurt you to lose a meal or two. Actually, you're only supposed to eat when you're hungry anyway. You're not supposed to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. That's for people that's in the food business, not for you. Putting all these chemicals and stuff. I hear now they're making meat in the laboratory now. It's not that uh, it's not that I'm sitting here trying to talk against anything or down on it. But the only thing I'm saying is we have to survive, and things are changing, whether you realize it or not. And if you don't change with the time, people will be left behind. And there's no catch up because everybody's moving at the same pace. Well, some people at the top move faster because they have knowledge of what's happening. If you don't have any, look at the bottom, low income, middle class, how you gonna get credit? Can't get any credit. Okay. Uh, Jobs, Jobs, I'm telling you, pretty soon there's gonna be such a run on low income jobs, people. I'm telling you, you're gonna need a college degree just to be able to work in fast food. If there be a job, because I'm sure automation, you know, AI, they gonna come in, they have machines that you kick over hamburgers, make hamburgers. They have machines can do that. They have machines that can make pizzas. We have to develop our neighborhoods and businesses that where we can support and depend on each other. And that's what's wrong with giving somebody a break, man, in your neighborhood when you know they're not making a lot of money and you can help them. That's why I have a nonprofit. I have no money, but I work to put money in my nonprofit that I can help people paint. I can go in there and paint their houses, their homes, rooms, wherever they live, do some fixing up to make it look nice and presentable. Seniors, I mean that this is what I do to help people. You understand? And I realize you can't do, but you can with the nonprofits. You also can, uh, uh, you can put yourself on a pay grade, but it's about helping people, man. And this I find is just gone. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I had a lady, had an electrician come in the house and work for half an hour. Really didn't even have to run no wires or nothing. Just splice the wire and put it together. $1,000. You understand? This is a problem. This is a major problem that's not talked about. And that's how these people are gouging people that need their services. All this stuff on there. Oh, this, everybody lying. All of it. I had an insurance company when COVID came out and they said COVID would affect seniors first, got kicked off the insurance policy. That's right. That's right. And I said, I'm not the only one. But nobody cares. But you'll see big advertisement, riding around for this. People, you gotta wake up. Gotta wake up. Wake up, start working together, loving your neighborhood, man. Loving your neighbors, clean up your neighborhoods. Every week, people should get out and sweep, get out and clean. Do something. Make the world a better place and stop letting these uh, 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 corporations come in and buy up your neighborhood. If your neighborhood work together and put money up in a stash, if a house become available on your block, the people on the block can buy it. If a store become available in the neighborhood, the people in the neighborhood can buy the store. You gotta work together. But half of us don't even know our next door neighbor. People, you're not gonna make it. And the people that have money, you see what they're doing. They're making preparation to go to outer space. That's right. Because we don't even know the shape or the condition that this planet is in. We don't know. But one thing for sure is if it was worth saving, the people in the know, I'm sure they would not be putting all this money into outer space and focus more on this planet Earth, because this is the only planet that we can live on. Because the planet is us and we are the planet. No, people need to start thinking. And then they talk about Martians. You know, how long have we been out in outer space now? How many years? So what happens when you start having life in outer space? What happens when you have uh, babies being born in a weightless environment? no body, long arms, fingers, big head. Isn't that the pictures that has been put before us? What uh, aliens look like? Common sense. Flat spaceship, flat rockets all around. That's the best way to maneuver in outer space. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. You know? Just because these people got millions and billions of dollars doesn't make them genius. You want to become a millionaire, if you want to become a billionaire, find a way to serve many people. Just that simple. You know? A million people at 50 cents, that's $500,000. Just that simple, man. Just that simple. So, we're being taken advantage of or being used, or you allowing yourself to be taken advantage of. So we've been chasing that fake rabbit for too long now. And now people are beginning to catch that fake rabbit and realize that it's fake and stop running. Stop running and start checking things out. So anyway, I just had to come on today. I hadn't planned on it, but all this stuff going on with Fox News, and they're talking about schools and talking about education and talking about more crime. This is something that's been planted with the crime a long time ago. It's not You're not going to solve crime in one day. It may take a half a generation to get things back to normal. People have got to get that out of there. We've been so full of violence and negativity and and uh, ignorance. This is what happens. If you don't know anything about love, you get in an argument, the first thing you want to do is shoot somebody, stab somebody. Why is that? Because you haven't been taught anything else. Nothing else has been put in front of you. How many movies did you used to watch on television when somebody hit you or something like that? You're going to go up and say, oh man, hug them and say, you know what? I'm sorry. Please forgive me. No, You're going to reach on the hip and you're going to shoot them 5, 6 times. A human life means absolutely nothing, or should I say, it means less and less every day. That's why you see all this killing, man. A human life is the most valuable thing on the face of this planet because everything that has value, that value uh, comes because of the what that thing or things has to do as far as sustaining life is concerned. That's what put value on that. So, you know, uh, maybe like stones, diamonds. Well, that's a stone. They use diamond drill bits to do certain things with diamonds. But I tell you another thing about a diamond. I may have told you this one time too. Um, if you're going to buy jewelry, if you're going to buy especially diamonds and stuff, you should know something about that. So I'm gonna tell you, people, you can get robbed. You can really get robbed unless you go to a reputable jeweler, someone that you know or someone has recommended them to you. And still, you should know something because I had an experience a little while back that I just went to the jewelry store sometime. I just go in and just test them every once in a while. Excuse me. So I went to this jewelry store and I asked the lady I wanted about putting a diamond in a ring that I had. So she said she had a diamond. I think it was like $3,000, $4,000. Like I think it was maybe a quarter carat or something like that. But that's not expensive for a diamond. You can get some diamonds because you look at $100,000, $250,000 for a stone, but 50,000. But you know, just regular. I mean, $3,000, $4,000 for a diamond to put in there. So So she said, "Oh, I have this diamond right over here." She said, "Come over and take a look at this diamond." So this right here is I think it's a really good stone for you. You can get. So I said, "Okay." But as soon as I asked for a loop, so I could take a look at the stone, clarity, and see what's in it, carbon, see all that stuff was in it. As soon as I asked for that loop, she almost dropped it. She almost dropped the ring on the floor. She said, "Oh no, this isn't the ring I want you to see." She said, "This is just something we have on display. The ring I want you to see is in the safe." Now, if I hadn't asked for that loop, and if I was going to purchase a ring, would she have sold me that ring for $3,000? But she didn't say anything about it on display until I asked for a loop to look at the stone. This was a reputable jewelry store. So, uh, it's a terrible thing, man. This world we live in is terrible, and you pay for what you don't know. So it pays to learn as much as you can about everything you can, and you definitely need an education. And another thing you need to do is be as honest as you can. Stand by your word. Don't say anything if you do not mean it. I mean, you don't have to say. It's just as easy to say, "Well, no, I can't make it on Wednesday." Or tell somebody, "Well, I think I can make it on Wednesday, but I will call you so and so time." But don't tell somebody you're going to do this and don't do it. Because in reality, all you have is your word. I don't care who you are, I don't care how much money you have. If your word isn't anything, you aren't anything. And there's going to come a time that everything you do will come back to bite you in this life or the next, but it's going to get you. So, anyway, on that note, thank you all very much. And I want everybody to have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.